Before I tell you this story, I need you to do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to make your blood boil, and I need to know I'm not alone in thinking that what happened to me was absolutely unforgivably wrong. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Ready? Here we go. My brother's medical degree hangs proudly in his office at St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center, one of the most prestigious hospitals in our state. It's framed in dark cherry wood, matted in burgundy, with gold lettering that reads, Doctor of Medicine, beneath his full name. That degree cost me $320,000. $320,000. I paid every cent. Tuition, room and board, books, study materials, MCAT prep courses, medical equipment, interview suits, moving expenses, board exam fees, everything. And when I called him on a Tuesday afternoon in September, my hands shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone, begging him to examine our father who was dying and couldn't afford the specialist he desperately needed, my brother said 5 words that destroyed whatever was left of our relationship. I don't work for free. Then he hung up. I stood there in my kitchen, my phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the dial tone. My father was in the next room, sitting in his recliner, losing weight by the day, his skin turning a color I didn't have a name for. And my brother, the doctor I had created, the physician I had sacrificed everything to bring into existence, told me to take our dying father to the emergency room, like a stranger, like someone who owed him nothing. This is the story of how I destroyed him. And I'm not sorry. Let me take you back 20 years. I need you to understand who I was before all of this, before the betrayal, before I learned that blood means absolutely nothing when money is involved. I was 28 years old in 2004. David, my brother, was 18 and had just graduated as valedictorian from Riverside High School. He'd gotten a full academic scholarship to State University, full tuition, housing included, but he wanted more. He wanted to go pre-med. He wanted to become a doctor. Sarah, he told me that summer, sitting at our father's kitchen table, his acceptance letter in his hands, I'm going to be a cardiologist. I'm going to save lives. I'm going to make something of myself. I believed him. God help me. I believed every word. Our father was so proud. Dad worked as a foreman at the Johnson manufacturing plant, same job he'd had for 32 years. He made decent money, enough to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads, but not doctor money, not medical school money. Mom had died when I was 16 and David was 6. Breast cancer. She fought for 3 years. We watched her waste away in that same recliner where Dad would later sit, dying himself. After Mom died, I became the mother. I was 16 years old, and I raised my 10-year younger brother. I made his lunches, helped with homework, went to parent-teacher conferences, drove him to soccer practice. I gave up my teenage years so David could have a childhood. I had been accepted to State University, too. I was going to study architecture. I had sketches, plans, dreams of designing buildings that would last centuries. But when Mom got sick, I deferred. Then she died, and Dad was a wreck, and David was 10 years old and terrified. I couldn't leave them. So I didn't go. I got a job instead. Assistant manager at Peterson's hardware store on Main Street, $11.50 an hour. I worked 45 hours a week and came home to cook dinner, help David with algebra, make sure he brushed his teeth. By the time David graduated high school, I'd been working at Peterson's for 12 years. I was making $18 an hour as the store manager. I had never left our hometown. I had never pursued architecture. I had never pursued anything except making sure my brother had every opportunity I didn't. So when David came to me with his dream of medical school, with his bright eyes and his brilliant mind, and his acceptance letter to State University, I didn't hesitate. How much do you need? I asked. He pulled out a notebook. He had done the math. State University was 4 years, all expenses paid by his scholarship. But medical school was different, 4 more years at Regional Medical University. Tuition alone was $52,000 per year, room and board another $18,000, books, equipment, fees, another $8,000 annually. It'll be about $300,000 total, he said, not meeting my eyes. Maybe a bit more with living expenses and everything. I was making $37,440 a year before taxes. We'll figure it out, I said. And we did. I need you to understand exactly what I gave up. This isn't an exaggeration. This isn't me playing the victim. These are facts, numbers, documented sacrifices that I can prove. In 2004, I took a second job, overnight shift at the 24-hour diner on Route 9, Friday and Saturday nights, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The diner paid $8 an hour plus tips. On a good weekend night, I could make $120. That's $240 per weekend, roughly $960 per month, $11,520 per year. For 4 years of David's undergraduate work, I saved every penny. Dad helped what he could, maybe $200 here and there, but most of it was me. I paid for David's textbooks, his meal plan upgrades, his lab fees, his MCAT prep course that cost $2,100, his application fees to medical schools. He applied to 14 schools at $150 each. By the time David started medical school in 2008, I had saved $46,000. It wasn't enough, not even close. So I took a third job. Weekday evenings, I started cleaning offices for Sparkle Commercial Cleaning, 4 hours a night, Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Another $12 an hour. Let me paint you a picture of my life during those 4 years David was in medical school. Monday through Thursday, wake up at 7 a.m., work at Peterson's Hardware from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., drive directly to my cleaning job, clean offices from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., get home around 10:30 p.m., shower, fall into bed, sleep 6 hours, repeat, Friday and Saturday, work at Peterson's 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., go home, nap for 3 hours, wake up at 9 p.m., drive to the diner, work 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., get home at 6:30 a.m., sleep until 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon was grocery shopping, laundry, taking care of Dad. Saturday night, repeat the diner shift. Sunday, my only day off. I slept most of it. I did this for 4 years. 4 years. I was working approximately 95 hours per week, some weeks more. I lost friends because I was never available. I didn't date. Who had time? I gained 40 pounds from the stress and the diner food I ate for free on shift. I developed chronic back pain from the cleaning work. I had a panic attack in the parking lot of an office building I was cleaning one night in 2010. Just sat in my car and sobbed for 20 minutes before I could go inside. But I sent David a check every month, $4,500 in August for tuition, $4,500 in January for spring semester tuition, $1,500 every month for rent and living expenses, $500 here and there for books, supplies, emergency expenses. David called me every Sunday evening. "Hey Sarah, how are you?" he'd ask, and I'd lie and tell him I was fine. "Great, doing well." "I don't know how to thank you," he'd say. "I'm going to pay you back, every cent. Once I'm a doctor, I'm going to take care of you. You won't have to work 3 jobs anymore, I promise." I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was my baby brother, the kid I raised, the boy I sacrificed everything for. "Just focus on school," I told him. "Make me proud." And he did. He graduated 3rd in his class from Regional Medical University in 2012. I took the day off work, lost $180 in wages, and drove 4 hours to attend his graduation ceremony. I sat in the audience in my best dress, which I'd bought from Goodwill for $12, and I cried when they called his name, Dr. David Michael Thompson. I had created a doctor. Medical school wasn't the end. There was residency. 3 years at St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center, starting in July 2012. Cardiology residency. Residents don't make much money. David's salary was $58,000 per year. Better than what I was making, but he said the cost of living near St. Catherine's was expensive. "I'm barely scraping by," he told me in August 2012. "The hours are brutal, and I can't save anything." So I kept helping. Not as much. I couldn't. I was exhausted, burnt out. My body was breaking down, but I sent him $500 per month during his residency. "For groceries," I said, "for gas, whatever you need." That's $18,000 over 3 years. In 2015, David completed his residency. He was hired as a full-time cardiologist at St. Catherine's. His starting salary was $380,000 per year. $380,000 per year. I was making $42,000 as the manager of Peterson's Hardware. I had finally quit my other two jobs because my doctor told me I was heading for a heart attack if I didn't slow down. I was 39 years old with the health markers of a 60-year-old. When David called to tell me about the job offer, I cried. Happy tears this time. "You did it," I said. "I'm so proud of you." "I couldn't have done it without you, Sarah," he said. His voice was thick with emotion. "I mean it. You sacrificed everything. I'm going to pay you back, I promise. Let me get settled, get through my first year, and then we'll sit down and figure out a payment plan. You'll get every penny back." "I don't need every penny," I said. "I just want to know it was worth it, that you're going to help people, save lives. That's payment enough." "I will," he said. "I'm going to make you proud." I should have gotten it in writing. The first year David was an attending physician, I saw him twice. He came home for Christmas 2015 and for Dad's birthday in March 2016. Both visits were brief, 2 days maximum. He was busy, he said, establishing himself, building his practice. He bought Dad a new recliner for his birthday, expensive leather one, $2,200. Dad cried. "You didn't have to do this," Dad said. "You raised me," David said, hugging him. "You deserve the best." I noticed he didn't buy me anything, not even a card, but I pushed the thought away. I was being petty. He was busy. In 2016, David got married. Her name was Melissa. She was a pharmaceutical rep he'd met at the hospital. The wedding was in June at an expensive vineyard 2 hours from St. Catharines. David called me in February. "Sarah, I'm getting married," he said. "Oh my God, David, congratulations." "Thanks. Listen, I wanted to ask you something. Would you be willing to contribute to the wedding? Melissa's parents are paying for most of it, but we're trying to keep costs down, and I thought maybe..." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "How much?" I asked. "Maybe 5,000? I know it's a lot, but you're my sister. You're the closest family I have besides Dad. And after everything you've done for me, I just thought you'd want to be part of this." I had $8,000 in my savings account, my entire emergency fund. "Of course," I heard myself say, "I'll send you a check." I did. $5,000. I was not in the wedding party. I was seated at table 14 near the back with some of Melissa's distant cousins. The wedding cost approximately $75,000, I learned later. David was making $380,000 per year at that point. Melissa was making around $95,000. They could have afforded it themselves. They didn't need my $5,000, but I gave it anyway. After the wedding, communication became sporadic. David would text every few months, usually when he needed something. In 2017, David bought a house, $680,000, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, in a gated community. He posted photos on Facebook, marble countertops, chandelier in the foyer, swimming pool in the backyard. I left a comment. "Beautiful, so happy for you." He liked my comment, didn't respond. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment that cost $950 per month. In 2018, David's salary increased to $420,000. That year, I tried to bring up repayment. It was November, and I had just gotten an estimate for a root canal I needed, $1,800. My insurance would cover $900. I called David. "Hey, it's Sarah." "Hey, what's up?" "I hate to ask, but I'm having some financial trouble. I need a root canal, and I was wondering if you might be able to help with..." "Sarah," his voice changed, became colder. "I'm not a dentist. I can't help you with dental work." "I know, I just meant, maybe help with the cost? It's $900 after insurance." Silence, long enough that I thought the call had dropped. "David?" "I'm here. Look, Sarah, I love you, but I can't just give you money every time you have an expense. I have my own bills, mortgage, Melissa's student loans. We're trying to save for kids. I can't be your personal bank." Something inside me cracked. "I'm not asking you to be my personal bank," I said quietly. "I'm asking for help with a $900 dental bill. I gave you $320,000. "And I'm grateful," he said. "But that was your choice. I didn't hold a gun to your head. You offered to help, and I appreciated it. But that doesn't mean I owe you for the rest of my life. I couldn't breathe. I have to go, I managed. Goodbye, David. I didn't get the root canal. I had the tooth pulled instead. $200. I didn't speak to David for 6 months after that. In March 2019, Dad started feeling tired, more than usual. He was 71 years old, retired from Johnson Manufacturing for 9 years. He'd been healthy, active, walked 2 miles every morning, did his own yard work. But that March, he started sleeping more, lost his appetite. By May, he'd lost 15 pounds. His skin had a grayish tinge. He was short of breath-climbing stairs. In June, he collapsed in his kitchen. I got a call from his neighbor, Mrs. Henderson. "Sarah, your father's in an ambulance. They're taking him to County General." I drove 90 miles per hour to the hospital. Got there to find Dad in the ER, hooked up to monitors and oxygen cannula in his nose. The ER doctor was young, overworked, exhausted. "Your father is severely anemic. His hemoglobin is dangerously low. We're running tests to find out why." 3 days of tests. The diagnosis came on day 4, stage 3 colorectal cancer. The oncologist was a woman named Dr. Patricia Lee. She was kind, but direct. "Your father has a tumor in his colon," she said, showing us the scans on her tablet. "It's advanced. We need to start treatment immediately. Surgery to remove the tumor, followed by chemotherapy." "What are his chances?" I asked. "With treatment, 5-year survival rate is about 40 to 50%. Without treatment," she paused, "less than a year." Dad's face was gray. "How much does treatment cost?" Dr. Lee looked uncomfortable. "That depends on your insurance." Dad had Medicare, basic coverage. It would cover maybe 60% of the costs, approximately $120,000 over the course of treatment. Dad had $35,000 in savings. I had $12,000. We sat in silence after Dr. Lee left. "We'll figure it out," I said, taking Dad's hand. "We'll get you treated." "Sarah, I can't afford this. We'll get a loan. I stopped, looked at Dad. "David." Dad's expression darkened. "No. Dad, he's a doctor. He makes over $400,000 a year. He can help." "I don't want to ask him." "You don't have to. I will." That night, I called David. It was June 18th, 2019, 8:47 p.m. I remember because I looked at my phone for 10 minutes before I could make myself dial. He answered on the 4th ring. "Sarah, what's wrong?" "It's Dad." I told him everything. The collapse, the diagnosis, the staging, the treatment plan, the cost. Silence on the other end. "David?" "That's awful," he said. His voice was flat. "I'm sorry to hear that." "He needs help," I said. "Financial help. The treatment is going to cost over $100,000 after insurance. I was hoping you could..." "Sarah, I can't just write a check for $100,000. I'm not asking for all of it. Maybe half or even a third. $30,000 would make such a difference, and you can afford it, David. You make..." "What I make is irrelevant," he snapped. "I have expenses, mortgage. Melissa is pregnant. We're having a baby in December. I have to think about my own family." "Dad is your family." "You know what I mean. My immediate family, my wife and child. I can't be giving away tens of thousands of dollars when I have a baby coming." I was gripping the phone so hard my hand hurt. "I gave you $320,000, I said. "I worked 3 jobs for 4 years. I gave up everything. And you can't help our dying father?" "I didn't ask you to do that," David said. "That was your decision, and I've thanked you multiple times, but that doesn't mean I owe you unlimited financial support for every crisis that comes up. This isn't every crisis. This is Dad, dying." "I'm sorry, Sarah. I really am, but I can't help. Talk to the hospital about payment plans. Apply for financial aid. There are resources." "David, I have to go. Melissa needs me. I hope Dad gets better. Keep me updated." He hung up. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot and screamed until my throat was raw. I didn't tell Dad about that conversation. What would be the point? He was dying. He didn't need to know his son had abandoned him. We started treatment. The hospital set up a payment plan for the portion insurance didn't cover. I would be paying $850 per month for the next 8 years. Dad had surgery in July. Recovery was hard, Dad was weak, in pain, struggling with the colostomy bag they'd given him temporarily. Chemotherapy started in August. Every other week I drove Dad to County General for his infusion. We'd sit in the oncology ward for 5 hours while poison dripped into his veins. Dad got sicker, lost more weight, lost his hair, developed neuropathy in his hands and feet. "I don't know if I can keep doing this," he said in October. "Yes, you can," I told him. "You're strong, you can do this." But watching him suffer was destroying me. In November, I tried calling David again, left a voicemail. "David, it's Sarah. Dad's really struggling with chemo. I thought maybe you could talk to his oncologist, get a second opinion. You're a doctor, maybe you know someone, or you could review his case. Please call me back." He didn't. On November 30th, 2019, Melissa posted photos on Facebook of their baby shower, pink balloons, elaborate cake, pile of gifts that must have cost thousands. I commented, "Beautiful, congratulations." She liked my comment. David didn't respond. I sent a text. "Congratulations on the baby. Dad would love to see you. He asks about you." David responded 3 days later. "Thanks. Super busy with work and getting ready for baby. We'll try to visit soon." He didn't. His daughter, my niece, was born on December 18th, 2019. Emily Rose Thompson. 7 pounds, 3 ounces, I commented. I sent a card. I sent a $50 gift card to Target, all I could afford. David texted, "Thanks for the gift card." That was it. Dad cried when I showed him the photos of Emily. "She's beautiful," he said. "I wish I could meet her." "You will," I promised, "when you're better." In January 2020, Dad's scans showed the cancer was responding to treatment. The tumor markers were down. Dr. Lee was cautiously optimistic. "Keep doing what we're doing," she said. "If the next scan in March looks good, we might be able to talk about remission." Hope. For the first time in months, I felt hope, and then everything fell apart. In February 2020, Dad developed severe abdominal pain. We went back to the ER. More tests, more scans, partial bowel obstruction, complications from the surgery and chemo. He needed another procedure, another $18,000 after insurance. I couldn't do it. I was tapped out, maxed out credit cards, behind on my own rent. I hadn't bought groceries in 2 weeks because I was living on rice and beans to save money. I called David. It was February 24th, 2020, 7:15 p.m. "Sarah?" He sounded annoyed. "David, it's an emergency. Dad needs another surgery. I don't have the money. I need your help." "What kind of surgery?" "Bowel obstruction. 18,000 after insurance." "Jesus, Sarah, what do you want me to do about it? Help, please. I'm begging you. I told you I can't keep giving you money. This isn't for me. It's for Dad." "It's the same thing. Look, I'm sorry Dad is sick, but I have my own family to support. Emily just turned 2 months old. Do you know what daycare costs, what diapers cost? I can't be responsible for everyone." "I'm not asking you to be responsible for everyone. I'm asking you to help our father once, one time." "I can't. Can't or won't. Both. Sarah, I'm sorry, but no. Figure it out. Talk to the hospital. Apply for aid. Sell something." "I don't know, but I can't help you." Something in me snapped. "I gave you everything," I said. My voice was shaking. "I gave up my life, my dreams, my health. I worked myself into the ground for you. And you can't spare 18,000? You make over 400,000 a year. How do you know what I make? You told me. Well, it's none of your business, and what I make doesn't matter. It's my money. I earned it. With the education I gave you. I earned that degree," he shouted. "I studied. I worked my ass off. Yes, you helped financially, and I've thanked you, but I'm the one who did the work. I'm the one who spent 4 years in medical school, 3 years in residency. I sacrificed too, Sarah, and I don't owe you my entire paycheck because you decided to play martyr." I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. "I have to go," David said. "Emily's crying. Don't call me about this again." He hung up. I sat on my couch in my cheap apartment and stared at the wall for 2 hours. Then I started to get angry. "I need you to understand something. I'm not a vengeful person. I'm not someone who holds grudges or plots revenge. I'm a small-town hardware store manager who just wanted to help her family. But there's a limit to what a person can endure. David had called me a martyr, said I decided to sacrifice, like it was some ego trip. I couldn't stop thinking about that word, martyr. I started going through old records, bank statements, check registers. I kept everything, always had. 20 years of financial documents in boxes in my closet. I added it up. Medical school tuition, $208,000. Room and board during medical school, $72,000. Books and supplies, $32,000. MCAT prep course, $2,100. Medical school application fees, $2,100. Board exam fees, $3,800. Moving expenses, $5,200. Residency support, $18,000. Emergency expenses over the years, approximately $8,000. Wedding contribution, $5,000. Total, $356,200. Not $320,000, more. I had underestimated. $356,200 over 16 years. And David was calling it a choice, a decision. Like I owed him nothing. I wanted to know more. What was his life like now? What was he doing with all that money I'd helped him earn? I started with Facebook. David's profile was semi-public. Photos of Emily, photos of his house, photos of a vacation to Turks and Caicos in January 2020, right before Dad's second surgery. 5-star resort. Melissa posted the hotel rate in one photo, $850 per night. They stayed for a week. That's $5,950 for the hotel alone, plus flights, plus food, plus activities. He couldn't spare $18,000 for Dad's surgery, but he could drop $10,000 on a Caribbean vacation. I kept digging. In March, I drove to St. Catharines, 4 hours from my town. I told Dad I was visiting a friend. I went to St. Catharines Regional Medical Center, walked through the lobby like I belonged there, found the cardiology department, and there it was. The wall of physicians. Dr. David Thompson's photo was third from the left, handsome in his white coat, stethoscope around his neck, confident smile. Below his photo was a plaque with his biography. Dr. David Thompson graduated summa cum laude from State University before earning his medical degree from Regional Medical University. He completed his cardiology residency at St. Catharines Regional Medical Center and joined our team in 2015. Dr. Thompson specializes in interventional cardiology and has published numerous papers on cardiac catheterization techniques. In his free time, he enjoys golf, traveling with his wife Melissa, and spending time with his daughter Emily. No mention of me, no mention of anyone who helped him. I took a photo of the plaque, then I asked to speak to someone in patient relations. Said I was considering Dr. Thompson as my cardiologist and wanted to know more about his background. The woman at the desk was friendly, chatty. "Oh, Dr. Thompson is wonderful," she said. "Very skilled, very dedicated." "I read he paid his own way through medical school," I said, making it up. "That's so impressive." She nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, he mentioned that during his interview. Said he worked multiple jobs to afford his education. Really speaks to his work ethic." My blood turned to ice. "He told you he paid his own way?" "That's what I heard, yes. Why?" "No reason, just curious. Thank you." I left the hospital, sat in my car, stared at the steering wheel. He was lying. He was telling people, colleagues, employers, patients, that he paid his own way through medical school, that he worked multiple jobs, that his success was entirely self-made. He had erased me, deleted me from his story. I was shaking, hands trembling so badly I couldn't start my car for 5 minutes. When I finally calmed down enough to drive, I didn't go home. I went to the public library in St. Catharines, got on one of their computers, started searching. I found his LinkedIn profile. Self-motivated physician who worked through medical school to achieve my dream of helping patients. Worked through medical school. I checked his Facebook again. In 2015, when he got his first job, a medical school classmate congratulated him in the comments. The classmate wrote, "Congrats, man, all that hard work paying off. You earned this." David responded, "Thanks. Yeah, it was rough working so many hours while studying, but it was worth it." I found another post from 2017. Someone asked David how he managed medical school debt. David responded, I was lucky, worked a lot during school to minimize loans, graduated with only about $15,000 in debt from undergrad, paid it off my second year as an attending. Lucky. He was lucky. Not, my sister sacrificed everything. Not, my sister worked 3 jobs. Lucky. I documented everything. Screenshots, photos, notes. I created a folder on my laptop labeled David Evidence. I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet, but I knew I was done being silent. Dad's February surgery went well. The hospital worked with me on another payment plan. I was now paying $1,350 per month toward medical debt. My take-home pay was $2,800 per month. After rent, utilities, and medical payments, I had $500 left for everything else. I lost 12 pounds in March because I couldn't afford groceries. 2 weeks later, Dad had a bad day. Severe pain, nausea, disorientation. I called an ambulance, back to County General ER, dehydration and an electrolyte imbalance. They kept him overnight, got him stabilized, sent him home the next day, another $2,000 after insurance. I called David from the hospital parking lot. I was beyond caring about pride or dignity. David, please, I'm begging you. Dad is suffering. He needs better care. Can you at least come see him? Examine him? You're his son. You're a doctor. Sarah, please, I'll pay you. How much do you charge for a consultation? I'll find the money somehow. Silence. Then, are you seriously offering to pay me to see my own father? I don't know what else to do. You won't help unless there's money involved, so fine, I'll pay. How much? I don't see patients outside my hospital. Make an exception. I can't, it's against policy. And I'm a cardiologist, Sarah. Your father needs an oncologist and a gastroenterologist. I can't help him. You won't even try. There's nothing I can do. You could do something, anything, but you won't because it's not convenient for you, because it doesn't benefit you. I have to go. David, take Dad to the ER if he's having issues. That's what it's there for. I don't work for free. He said it. He actually said it. I don't work for free. To his own sister, about his own father. Fuck you, I said. I'd never cursed at David before. Never in our entire lives. Excuse me? You heard me. Fuck you. I hope you're proud of yourself. I hope that medical degree hanging on your wall brings you joy. Because you bought it with my life, and you can't even spare an hour to help the man who raised you. I hung up before he could respond. I sat in my car and cried until a security guard knocked on my window and asked if I was okay. May 2020 brought COVID-19 lockdowns. The world shut down. Dad's chemo continued. Cancer doesn't wait for pandemics, but everything else became harder, scarier. I was terrified Dad would get sick. His immune system was compromised from chemo. If he caught COVID, he'd die. We quarantined. I brought him groceries, left them on his porch. We talked through the window. I hadn't hugged my father in 3 months. In June, Dad's scans showed the cancer was stable, not growing, not shrinking, just there. Dad was exhausted, weak, losing hope. In August 2020, David's son was born, Ryan Michael Thompson, 8 pounds even. More Facebook photos, more congratulations. I sent a card, no gift this time. I couldn't afford it. David didn't acknowledge it. In September, Dad collapsed again, another trip to the ER. This time it was more serious. The cancer had spread, liver metastases, stage 4. Dr. Lee was gentle but honest. We're looking at palliative care now, maybe 6 months to a year with treatment. Without treatment, less. Dad was 73 years old. He'd been fighting for 18 months. I want to stop, he said. Dad, Sarah, I'm tired. I'm done. I want to stop the chemo. You can't give up. I'm not giving up. I'm choosing quality over quantity. I want whatever time I have left to be peaceful, not spent in hospitals. I couldn't argue with him. We stopped the chemo. Dad came home. I moved in with him, quit my job at Peterson's Hardware after 17 years, became his full-time caregiver. We lived on his Social Security and my tiny savings. I called David, left a voicemail. David, it's Sarah. Dad has stopped treatment. The cancer spread to his liver. He's in hospice now. He's dying. I thought you should know. If you want to see him, now's the time. David called back 2 days later. Sarah, I'm so sorry. Are you coming? I don't know if I can. COVID is still bad. I have 2 small kids. I can't risk exposure. Dad is dying. I know, I'm sorry. Can we FaceTime? I can talk to him that way. I wanted to scream, to throw my phone, to reach through the line and shake him. Sure, I said instead. I'll set it up. We did FaceTime. Once. For 12 minutes. Dad's face lit up when he saw David on the screen, saw Emily and baby Ryan. They're beautiful, Dad said, his voice weak. You've done well, son. Thanks, Dad. You look good. Dad laughed bitterly. Liar. They talked about nothing. Weather, Emily's preschool, David's work, surface things. Not I love you. Not I'm sorry I wasn't there. Not thank you for everything. When the call ended, Dad was quiet for a long time. He's not coming, is he? Dad finally asked. I don't know. It's okay. I understand. But it wasn't okay. None of it was okay. October 2020. Dad was fading. Sleeping 20 hours a day, eating almost nothing. Hospice nurses came 3 times a week. They were kind, patient. They taught me how to administer morphine for pain. I watched my father die slowly, inch by inch, day by day. And David didn't come. He texted once a week. How's Dad? I'd respond, declining. Let me know if there's anything I can do. But there was nothing, because what Dad needed was time. And presence, and love, and David wouldn't give those things. In late October, Dad developed a fever, pneumonia. His lungs were filling with fluid. The hospice nurse said it was a matter of days now. I called David. Dad has pneumonia. He's dying. If you want to say goodbye, you need to come now, not FaceTime, now. Sarah, I told you I can't. COVID. I don't give a fuck about COVID. I screamed. Your father is dying. Get in your car and drive here, now. Don't yell at me. I'll do more than yell if you don't get here. What do you want me to say? I have responsibilities. You have a father who is dying. And I have 2 children who need me alive. I'm sorry, Sarah. I can't risk getting sick. I'll come to the funeral. I hung up on him. Dad died 2 days later, October 28th, 2020, 3:47 a.m. I was holding his hand. The hospice nurse was there. Dad's breathing had been labored for hours, then it just stopped. He's gone, the nurse said gently. I sat with his body for an hour, held his hand, told him I loved him. David wasn't there. I planned a small funeral, 20 people at the graveside service. I paid for it with the last of Dad's savings, $3,200. David showed up. He pulled into the cemetery parking lot in his Mercedes GLE, $85,000 car. He got out wearing an expensive black suit, Melissa beside him in designer morning clothes. No kids. They'd left Emily and Ryan with a sitter. He walked up to me. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I looked at him, my baby brother, the boy I raised, the man I created. Don't, I said. Sarah, don't you dare. The service was brief. Pastor from Dad's church said some words. I cried. David stood stone-faced. After they lowered the casket, people came up to me, offered condolences. David approached me as people were leaving. Sarah, can we talk? What's there to say? I know you're upset with me. I know I should have come sooner. COVID was serious and I had to think about my family. Your family? I repeated. Dad was your family. You know what I mean. No, David, I don't. Explain it to me. Melissa touched his arm. David, maybe now isn't... Stay out of this, I snapped at her. She recoiled. Sarah, don't talk to my wife like that. Your wife? The woman you married with my money? That wife? People were staring now, the few remaining mourners. Let's not do this here, David said quietly. Why not? Worried about appearances? Worried people will find out what you really are? What I really am? What the hell does that mean? A liar. A fraud. Someone who built his entire life on someone else's sacrifice and then pretended it never happened. David's face flushed. I never pretended. You tell people you paid your own way through medical school. His expression changed, flickered. Guilt. Who told you that? Does it matter? It's true, isn't it? I simplified the story. People don't need to know every detail of my personal finances. Simplified. You erased me, David. You took everything I gave you and you erased me from your story. That's not what I did. Then what did you do? Tell me. Tell all these people how you paid for medical school. Silence. Tell them, I shouted. Sarah, please. I paid for it. I worked 3 jobs for 4 years. I gave up everything, and you tell people you did it yourself. The remaining mourners were frozen, watching. David grabbed my arm. We're not doing this here. I yanked away from him. Don't touch me. Sarah, you need to calm down. I need to calm down. Our father just died, and you couldn't be bothered to visit him, not once. In his last months, you didn't come. Not once. I explained why. COVID? Bullshit. You didn't come because you didn't care, because Dad wasn't useful to you anymore. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. I gave you everything and you gave me nothing. Dad needed you and you abandoned him. David's jaw clenched. I didn't abandon anyone. You absolutely did. You abandoned both of us the second you got your degree, the second you didn't need us anymore. Melissa was pulling on David's arm. David, let's go. Good idea, I said. Run away. That's what you're good at. David turned back to me. His face was red, angry now. You want to know the truth, Sarah? Fine. Here's the truth. I appreciate what you did. I do. But I didn't ask for it. You made the choice to help me, and then you held it over my head for the rest of my life. Every time you needed something, it was, remember what I did for you. Well, I'm done feeling guilty. I earned my career. I did the work, and I'm not going to apologize for having a life in a family that doesn't revolve around you. The words hit me like punches. Get out, I said quietly. What? Get out of this cemetery. You're not welcome here. You didn't earn the right to mourn him. He was my father. Then you should have acted like it. David stared at me for a long moment. Then he turned and walked away. Melissa hurried after him. I watched them drive away in their expensive car. And that's when I decided to destroy him. I went home after the funeral. Dad's house, my house now. He'd left it to me in his will. Also left me his debts, $27,000 in medical bills. I sat in his recliner, the expensive one David had bought him 5 years ago, the only thing David had ever given Dad. I thought about everything. The years of sacrifice, the broken promises, the lies, the abandonment. And I thought about what David had said at the cemetery. I earned my career. No, he didn't. I earned his career. With my blood, my sweat, my youth, my health, my dreams. And I was going to make sure everyone knew it. I spent the next 3 days going through my documentation, bank statements, canceled checks. I'd kept everything, every receipt, every record. I created a spreadsheet, every payment I'd ever made, date, amount, purpose, $356,200 total, documented, provable. Then I wrote a post, a long one. I wrote and rewrote it for 2 days. I wanted it perfect. When I was done, it was 2,847 words. I titled it, The True Cost of My Brother's Medical Degree. On November 3rd, 2020, I posted it to Facebook, not on my personal page. My page had maybe 70 friends. That wouldn't be enough. I posted it in the St. Catherine's community group, 12,000 members. I posted it in the Regional Medical University alumni group, 8,500 members. I posted it in the St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center community page, 6,700 members, and then I tagged David in all of them. The post started with a photo, Dad in his hospital bed, gaunt, bald from chemo, dying. Below the photo, my story. I told them everything, how I raised David after Mom died, how I worked 3 jobs to put him through medical school, how I documented every penny, $356,200 total, how he promised to pay me back and never did, how he told people he paid his own way, how he refused to help when Dad was dying, how he made $450,000 per year and wouldn't spare $18,000 for his father's surgery, how he didn't visit Dad in his final months, how he didn't come to say goodbye. I included screenshots, bank statements with identifying info redacted except for the amounts and dates, photos of canceled checks made out to David's medical school, my spreadsheet showing every payment. I included screenshots of his Facebook posts, the vacation to Turks and Caicos, his expensive house, his cars. I included screenshots of his professional bios claiming he worked through medical school and paid his own way. I ended with this. My brother is Dr. David Thompson, cardiologist at St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center. He tells his patients and colleagues that he's self-made, that he worked hard to earn his success. But the truth is, his success was built on my sacrifice. And when I needed him, when our dying father needed him, he turned his back on us both. I'm posting this because people deserve to know who they're trusting with their lives. They deserve to know what kind of man treats his family this way. I don't want money. I don't want an apology. I just want the truth to be known. Dr. David Thompson didn't earn his degree alone. I earned it for him. And then he erased me from the story. I hit post, and then I waited. The first comment came within 5 minutes. This is heartbreaking. I'm so sorry for your loss. Then another. I'm a patient of Dr. Thompson. I had no idea. This is awful. Then another. How could someone be so cruel to their own family? Within an hour, there were 50 comments, 100, 200. People were sharing the post. People were tagging St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center. Does the hospital know they employ someone like this? I'm filing a complaint. This is unethical. Doctors are supposed to have compassion. This man has none. David called me at 11:47 p.m. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. His voice was shaking with rage. Sarah, what the fuck did you do? Take those posts down. Now. I'm serious. This is defamation. This is harassment. I will sue you. Take them down. I deleted the voicemail. He called again and again, 11 times between midnight and 2 a.m. I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in months. By morning, the post had been shared over 500 times. Local news outlets picked it up. Cardiologist accused of abandoning dying father after sister funded his education. The comments on these articles were brutal, disgusting. He should lose his license. I would never trust this man with my health, Melissa posted on Facebook. A defensive screed about how I was a bitter, jealous woman who couldn't accept David's success, how I was harassing their family, how they were pursuing legal action. People tore her apart in the comments. Your husband let his father die. Nothing you say will change that. Defend him all you want. The receipts don't lie. She deleted the post within an hour. On November 5th, 2 days after my post, a reporter from the St. Catherine's Tribune called me. Ms. Thompson, this is Jennifer Moss from the Tribune. I'm writing a story about your Facebook post regarding your brother. Would you be willing to be interviewed? Yes, I said. The interview took an hour. She asked for documentation. I sent her everything: bank statements, canceled checks, photos, the spreadsheet. She called David for comment. He refused to speak to her. The article ran on November 7th, front page of the local section. Sister claims she funded doctor's education, says he abandoned their dying father. The article was balanced, factual, included all my documentation, included the hospital's no comment statement, included David's refusal to respond. It also included quotes from patients. I'm scheduled for a procedure with Dr. Thompson next month. I'm considering finding another doctor after reading this. The story went regional, then statewide. News stations called. I did 3 television interviews. I sat in front of cameras and told my story, showed my documentation, cried when I talked about Dad. I just want people to know the truth, I said. I don't want revenge. I just want honesty. That was a lie. I absolutely wanted revenge. On November 10th, I filed a formal complaint with the state medical board. I didn't accuse David of medical malpractice. He hadn't treated Dad. But I cited professional ethics violations. Specifically, physicians are expected to demonstrate compassion, integrity, and ethical behavior, both in and outside their medical practice. I included all my documentation. I included statements from Dad's hospice nurses about David's absence. I included screenshots of David's bios claiming he paid his own way through school. The medical board acknowledged my complaint, opened an investigation. St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center also opened an internal investigation. 3 days later, the hospital issued a statement. St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center is aware of recent allegations regarding Dr. David Thompson. While we cannot comment on personnel matters, we want to assure our patients that we take ethical concerns seriously and are conducting a full review. David was placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Good. On November 15th, I received a letter from a law firm, Mitchell and Associates, David's attorneys, cease and desist. They accused me of defamation, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. They demanded I remove all social media posts, cease all communication with media outlets, issue a public apology, and pay $50,000 in damages. Or they would sue me for $500,000. I laughed when I read it. I called a lawyer, a free consultation at a legal aid office. The lawyer, a woman named Patricia Dunn, reviewed my documentation. "You have proof of everything you said?" "Yes, all of it." "Then you have nothing to worry about. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. If what you said is true, he can't win." "What should I do about the letter?" "Ignore it. If he actually sues you, we'll deal with it then. But my guess? He won't. A lawsuit would mean discovery. He'd have to turn over his financial records, his communications. Everything would become public. He won't risk that." She was right. I never heard from Mitchell and Associates again. The investigation took 6 weeks. During that time, David was on paid leave, still making his $450,000 salary while sitting at home. I posted updates on Facebook, not malicious ones, just facts. Update. David is still on paid leave while the hospital investigates. I'm working at a grocery store for $13 an hour to pay off Dad's medical debt. Interesting contrast. People ate it up. The comments were overwhelmingly supportive. On December 22nd, St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center made their decision. David was not fired, but he was reprimanded, officially, a mark on his permanent record. He was also required to complete ethics training, and he was reassigned, not to a patient-facing role, to research, a position in the hospital's cardiology research department, same pay, but no patients, no direct care. Effectively, they benched him. The hospital released a statement. After a thorough investigation, St. Catherine's Regional Medical Center has taken appropriate action regarding Dr. David Thompson. While we cannot disclose specifics, we can confirm that Dr. Thompson will be transitioning to a research role within our cardiology department. We remain committed to maintaining the highest ethical standards among our staff. It wasn't everything I wanted, but it was something. The state medical board took longer. Their investigation dragged into February 2021. I cooperated fully, provided everything they asked for, gave a deposition. David fought it, hired expensive lawyers, argued that his personal life had no bearing on his professional competence, but the board disagreed. On February 18, 2021, they issued their ruling. Formal reprimand, probation for 2 years, mandatory ethics education, community service requirement, 200 hours of free medical care at community health clinics. It was public record. Anyone could look it up. I posted the link to the ruling on Facebook. Update. The state medical board has officially reprimanded David and put him on probation. He's also required to provide 200 hours of free medical care. Ironic, considering he told me he doesn't work for free. That post got 1,200 shares. David's life fell apart piece by piece. His marriage crumbled. Melissa filed for divorce in March 2021. The divorce was nasty. They fought over everything: the house, the cars, custody of Emily and Ryan. Melissa got primary custody. David got every other weekend. The house was sold. David moved into a condo. His social media went dark. No more posts, no more photos of his perfect life. His reputation was destroyed, not just with the public, but within the medical community. I heard through the grapevine that other hospitals refused to hire him. He was stuck in research, making the same salary, but hating every minute. Good. In April 2021, David called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won out. "What do you want?" I said. "Sarah." His voice was broken, defeated. "Can we talk?" "We're talking. In person, please." "Why?" "Because I need to apologize." I was silent for a long moment. "Come to Dad's house, Saturday at 2 p.m. I'll be there." He showed up exactly on time. He looked terrible, older, gray in his hair, lines around his eyes. We sat at Dad's kitchen table, the same table where he'd shown me his medical school acceptance letter 17 years earlier. "Say what you came to say," I told him. He took a breath. "I'm sorry." "For what specifically?" "For everything. For taking you for granted, for not being there when Dad was dying, for lying about paying my own way, for being a selfish asshole. You forgot abandoning me after I gave you everything. That too. And I don't know what else to say. I fucked up. I know that. I destroyed my own life and I deserve it." I studied him. This man who used to be my baby brother. "Why did you do it?" I asked. "Why did you push us away?" He was quiet for a long time. I think I was ashamed," he finally said. "Of what?" "Of needing you. Of not being self-made." Everyone in medical school had these stories about how they worked so hard, sacrificed so much, and I had to say, my sister paid for it. It felt weak. "So you lied?" "Yeah, I lied, and the lie got easier to tell, and then it just became the story. I started to believe it myself." "And Dad? Why didn't you come see him?" David's eyes filled with tears. "I don't have a good answer. I was scared, maybe. Seeing him dying would make it real, and I didn't want to face you. Didn't want to face what I'd become. You were a coward." "Yes." We sat in silence. "I don't forgive you," I said finally. "I know. I don't know if I ever will. I understand. But I'm glad you apologized, for what it's worth." He nodded, wiped his eyes. "What are you going to do now?" I asked. "I don't know. Keep working. Try to be a better father than I was a son. That's all I can do." "You could pay me back." He looked up sharply. "The $356,200, I said. "You could start paying me back." "Sarah, with the divorce, the legal fees, I don't have that kind of money right now." "I don't care. Start small. $500 a month, $1,000, whatever you can afford, but start." He hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, I'll send you $1,000 a month, starting next week." "Put it in writing." He pulled out his phone, typed up a brief agreement, $1,000 per month until the debt was repaid, signed it electronically, sent it to me. "Anything else?" he asked. "Yes, Dad's medical debt. I'm still paying it off. $27,000 remaining. You're going to pay half." "Sarah, half, $13,500. You can add it to the payment plan, or you can pay it as a lump sum, but you're going to pay it." He closed his eyes, nodded. "Lump sum. I'll have it to you by the end of the month." "Good." He stood to leave. "David?" "Yeah?" "Don't ever contact me again unless it's about the payments. We're not family anymore. We're a debtor and a creditor. That's it." His face crumpled, but he nodded. "I understand." He left. I never saw him again. It's November 2022 now. 2 years since Dad died. David has kept his word, $1,000 every month like clockwork. He paid the $13,500 for Dad's medical debt in full in May 2021. At $1,000 per month, it'll take him 29 more years to pay off the $356,200. He'll be 70 years old when the debt is cleared. I don't think he'll make it that long, but every payment I receive is a small victory. I sold Dad's house, paid off the remaining medical debt, put the rest in savings. I went back to school, online classes. I'm getting my degree in architecture, 24 years late, but I'm doing it. I'm 45 years old, single, no kids, but I'm okay. I think about Dad every day. I visit his grave every Sunday, put flowers on the headstone. Sometimes I think about David. Wonder if he's miserable. Wonder if he's learned anything. Mostly, I don't care. The Facebook posts are still up. Still get comments occasionally. People sharing their own stories of family betrayal, thanking me for speaking out. I received hundreds of messages from people who had similar experiences, siblings who sacrificed everything and got nothing in return, parents who funded their children's education only to be abandoned. I'm not alone. That's comforting. My story went viral enough that I was interviewed for a podcast about family dynamics, then a magazine article about the cost of medical education. I became a cautionary tale, a warning. Get everything in writing. Don't sacrifice yourself for people who won't sacrifice for you. Blood doesn't mean loyalty. If I could go back, would I do it again? I don't know. I'd like to say no, that I'd keep my money and my life and let David figure it out himself. But I raised that boy. I loved him. And love makes you stupid. All I know is this: I'm done being stupid. I'm done sacrificing for people who don't appreciate it. I'm done being erased. If you made it this far, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. I told this story because I needed people to know. I needed the truth to be out there. I needed David to face consequences. And he did. Not as severe as I wanted, maybe. But enough. His reputation is ruined. His marriage ended. His career is permanently stained. He'll be paying me back for the rest of his life. Is it justice? Maybe. Maybe not. But it's something. And sometimes, something is enough. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments. Let's support each other. Let's stop being silent about family betrayal. If you know someone like David, don't protect them. Expose them. People deserve to know who they're dealing with. And if you're thinking about sacrificing everything for someone who promises to pay you back someday, learn from my mistake. Get it in writing. Protect yourself. Because blood doesn't guarantee loyalty, and promises are just words until they're kept. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a super thanks if this story resonated with you, and drop a comment telling me, have you ever been betrayed by someone you sacrificed for? I want to hear your stories. We're building a community here, and your voice matters. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my story. And thank you for making sure David's name will forever be associated with his betrayal. That's all I ever wanted. Justice, truth, and consequences. I got all three.